Yeah, I'm bringing out the jacket again. It's been a while, and I really needed to. This album deserves it. Welcome back to Y.E.S, everyone. Today we are talking about In the Meantime, the third studio album released by Alessia Cara. Alessia Cara is quite an interesting case for me personally. I remember liking her a lot when she debuted, when she was basically introducing her music back in 2014, 2015. And I thought to myself, yeah, this artist has a future. I'm pretty excited about that. And then somewhere later on, I felt like she was being overhyped. And I don't really know how to describe that necessarily. That's just kind of how I felt with some of the other things taking place in the moment around her second album-ish, sometime around there. And then recently, before this album was released, I was just thinking to myself, why haven't I heard from Alessia Cara? I felt like everyone was predicting that she was going to be this big thing, and I enjoyed her while she lasted. But yeah, what's going on with her? And then, not much later, this album dropped. And I thought, oh, okay, cool. I don't know what to expect from it, but since it had crossed my mind recently, I guess I'd better give it a shot. And even after being surprised by that, I couldn't help but think that I was going to be underwhelmed. Yeah, no, I like this album quite a bit, actually. And I'm very stunned by how unenthusiastic I felt previously and how my mood changed after the first time I listened to it. This album is kind of what I wish we were getting on the radio. I wish that pop music was somewhere in this sphere that is out there. Now, I will say that I think a lot of other people are going to think that this album has a lot of fairly basic moments or something like that. And there's a part of me that can understand that. But I think a lot of the combined elements of this album would turn your head in the other direction, because I think that if you're actually paying attention, you'd be surprised, especially by comparison to some of the stuff that is pushed at us in the mainstream. This is an 18-track album. This is not something that I should be this excited about. It's not that that couldn't possibly be a good album because of how long it is. It's just that sometimes it's hard to get yourself ready to be enthusiastic about something like that. Not here. I was really happy going from track to track to track. And then I had to make sure I was feeling that way the second time around I was listening to it. And now I am here. Let's talk about some highlights. The first track that really got me in the zone is Bluebird. It's a fun, semi-mellow beat with excellent trumpets near the end. That created a whole new dimension and a great ending conclusion for this song. Very, very clever. I'm impressed. Going into the next few tracks, there is a lot of great production elements that I am surprised by. They're not maybe the most revolutionary thing, but they are impressive in the sense that there's something that I feel like you could easily rely on. Combine that with some of the lyrical content that we have in here, which I will go into a little more depth. You can take these elements together and say, yeah, someone knows what they're doing. First one in that regard I will highlight is Fishbowl. I think this song is talking a lot about risk in a way, being in a fishbowl versus the deep end. Like, one is contained, the other one is so big you have no idea what you would do. Could be mental stress. That could be another thing. So much going on, and yeah, just imagine yourself being in two different scenarios where you're not sure which one you belong in, or if there's a good middle ground where your path can allow you to grow and flourish at the right pace. I really like the song Middle Ground because it talks about the contradictions that people are talking about when it comes to relationships. Take this lyrical line, for example. I don't need a man and all that jazz, but come to think of butterflies and starry eyes, I don't remember hating it. Yeah, can you all relate to that? To be alone and not be hurt, or to be with someone and feel something amazing? Gotta find the right person, right timing, you know? Some people would say go with one or the other, especially about being alone these days. A lot of people giving some nonsensical advice when it comes to that. Oh boy. Another song I like lyrically and delivery-wise is Drama Queen. This has a lot of those feels for a pop teen song, which I can still see Alessia Cara pulling off better than some other artists out there. The following line I'm about to read can be interpreted very differently if the tone is not right. I'm not even yours anymore, but I deserve an award for getting over you. Call the Academy. With the wrong tone, that would sound supremely boastful, but the delivery that Alessia Cara gives here actually has a strange and enlightening maturity to it, which is very interesting. The song Slow Lie is interesting because it's like a melancholy nostalgia for a failed relationship that maybe you romanticized or over-romanticized, and you're just recognizing that there's something to be missed, even in maybe the moments that you didn't necessarily like it. It's a very interesting take on this kind of missing moment that I know a lot of people in her situation have had, or even people in my situation. Who knows? A lot of people could have probably felt this way. Now, I could go on and on about a lot of songs here, but I'm going to go to the very end. The second to last track is You Let Me Down. Soft strings, soft background vocals. It's just sweet, tender, and endearing. And there's a very strong part of me that wishes this was the last track. The last song, Apartment Song, is in fact good. Don't get me wrong. I like that song. But the conclusion of You Let Me Down just makes me think, oh, that would have just wrapped it up perfectly. So just a little thing there. Now, while I was thinking about this album, I did notice that I was thinking a lot of the debut album by JoJo. That album I love a lot, but I did recognize that there were some flaws that almost could have prevented me from wanting to give it a higher recommendation. But there were a few small things where I had to just tell myself, okay, no, those things are real, but in a way, I don't feel like they're necessarily JoJo's fault. And in this album, I have at least one thing that makes me think that same thing. The song Sweet Dream just has kind of this kind of funny production style that I feel like is something that I would have probably expected from a song or so from her initial beginnings. And it sounds like something that would have been accepted 3 to 5 years ago. And even then, I probably wouldn't have liked it, but I would have expected it. In this one, I just don't feel like some of those production switch-ups, not everything, but a few of them, were just kind of like, that doesn't really work. It feels somewhat outdated, or at least it just doesn't feel like it works in this context. So I'm not sure which is the stronger argument necessarily. We just have that to go on here. And that's probably my personal biggest gripe with here. I don't necessarily care for the intro song. I get that it works with the following song after that, and it's not bad. I just could live without it. I don't need it in my playlist. Also, the song Lie to Me, I like this song, but it took me multiple times in order to verify that I liked it. There's something that I wish could have been added, probably more to it, but in the end, I could still see myself growing to like it even more, even at this point. So, after having listened and reviewed this album with the following grades and the following categories here, how would I recommend this album? I am going to give it...
Yes, I'm a peer.
Yeah, she's one of my peers.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it. Again, I don't think this is necessarily a revolutionary album, but I do think it does exactly what it needs and is supposed to do. compared to a lot of other music that I've listened to this year. There's a whole lot of music I never got to review this year that I gave a shot, but I knew this was an album I had to review so that other people could recognize, oh, okay, he's trying to give merit to something that maybe we've heard before from an artist that we expect to like, but there's more depth to it than meets the eye or meets the ear upon first listen, for some people. For me, I felt like I recognized this way more than probably some other people have. I think this is an album that does exactly what we should want for our pop music from a certain point of view. There are other things that you can do. You can take different kinds of risks. You can add different sprinkles or cherries on top of your desserts, however you want to do that. But don't tell me that there are other pop artists that have done a better job with their risqueness necessarily. If it's basic to you, that's fine. But do not tell me it's subpar. That is not right. I will defend this album. This is one that this year needs to recognize as a better quality than so many other projects out there that are getting some credit right now at the end of the year. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me in my social media links down in the description below. And remember to subscribe here where you can discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment that'll make you say yes. See you next time. Bluebird.